Hi, I'm Will McCoy, and this is chapter 24 in our ethics book. This chapter follows a young journalist who is writing a story for a local newspaper. The story revolves around the merging of schools within the district. At the meeting where this idea was brought up, there was no real pushback, and this surprised the journalist. She decided to do a little bit more digging and found a public official's blog page where comments had been made about the issue in the post. The moral issue that the journalist faced was whether or not the blog post served as a good source for her story. After thinking about it and discussing it with her peers, the journalist decided to use the blog post as a jumping off point for more information. She asked the person who wrote it to elaborate on some of the points made in the blog post and then used those quotes in the story. The answers to the questions. Number one, I believe for many people that question alone would be enough. If I had to suggest another question to ask when determining whether or not to use the blog, I would have asked if the writer knew that the blog was available to the public. Number two, you should always work to quote your sources as accurately as possible. I would change individual words if they were overly complicated or too difficult for the reader to understand, or simply explain the quote in the following sentences. I would also make sure to provide a link back to the blog post or an image of the post so that people may go back and see the post for themselves. Number three, when reporting, the media has a responsibility to report accurately, fairly, and truthfully. The exclusion of the blog would not have been detrimental to the story, but the whole story would not have been presented. The consumers would have only seen the report of what happened at the meeting instead of a report on the issue as a whole. Number four, the newspaper and the consumers of the paper would receive the benefit of using the blog post. The paper would be supplying more information to their readers, and the readers, as members of the community, would be more informed about a large event in their community. If harm was done, it would most likely be done to the writer of the blog as well as the officials in charge of making the decision. How am I more ethical after reading this chapter? The issue of whether public officials should be held accountable for something that they post online is a serious question, especially today in the age of Twitter. It seems that many government officials in the United States not only post their thoughts daily, but sometimes defame and belittle the people who disagree with them online. The idea that these posts are legitimate sources and that those people can be held accountable for them is not something that everyone seems to agree on today. I think that this is a very important topic given how quickly technology has advanced and how volatile our political landscape has become. I believe that I am more ethical because I believe I know how to approach this topic better in conversation and how to apply it better to our everyday lives. Thanks.